What is going on, everybody? I am the FDGURU, bringing to you guys a Wednesday NBA edition of my DFS podcast. We have 8 games on the main slate tonight. Kind of surprised that they included the 3 10 o'clock games, seeing that, FanDuel and DraftKings have been avoiding doing that. We still would have had a 5-game main slate, and the way it's shaping out, it looks like we're not going to be really touching the later games in terms of value because we have a ton of value in the first 5 games of this slate. Leaves us for a 3-game after-hours slate. I'll be playing that for sure on my Dub Club. If you want to sign up down there, I have the link below this video for $1 for your first week. We almost took down an after-hours slate a few days ago, so nothing but tons of extra content over on my Dub Club. Main slate will obviously be on my usual FDGURU website. The video plays yesterday did well. I did a little recap this morning. If you watch the video, as I always do, 5 plays. Garland hit value. Duncan Robinson, low ownership value. Tobias, not the best game, but he didn't kill you. Olynyk crushed in a blowout. The Raptors got absolutely destroyed by the Pelicans. And then Şengün was the play of the night. Absolutely cooked Victor Wembanyama. Career high 45 points, 84.5 fantasy points. He was a huge reason why the cash and hybrid lineups did so well. We have been doing pretty well as of late, especially on the main slate. So let's continue that today. Like this video. Subscribe. I have all of my Arnold Palmer stuff posted up for tomorrow as well. Great golf tournament starting tomorrow morning. And then to look at the lineups from last night, a lot of the video plays. Misic was on both cash and hybrid. He was a must play by the end of the night with 35 fantasy points. Kelly Oubre at low ownership. And then Olynyk and Şengün were on all my lineups. They were, easy values. So an overall good night. Let's continue it for tonight. Now, we just got a ton of value. Actually, too much value now. The news has come, out of nowhere. The last hour, we have gotten a handful of guys ruled out. And it's a little bit overwhelming because now I just don't know who to go to. There's so many options. This slate is going to be extremely easy to spend up on players. We'll talk about that. And as usual, 5 plays. 1 for each position. In terms of questionable guys, we don't have a ton now that we just got all the news, but Jabari Smith on the Rockets against the Clippers is questionable. Jaren Jackson for the Grizzlies is questionable. And then the late games, we have the Blazers with a lot of questionable guys, but I doubt that's going to move the needle even if they're all ruled out. Jeremy Grant, Kamara, Duop Reith. DeAndre Ayton, I think, is doubtful. I don't really care about the Blazers. I think the Thunder are going to beat them by 20 tonight. We have just too much, great value in other spots. And then your usual LeBron fake questionable tag, as he loves to do every night, just to get a little bit more attention because he doesn't get enough of it. So let's go right into this slate. We just got Kyle Lowry ruled out, and now we just have to pick Cameron Payne in every lineup. He's a first guy in play tonight. Should be in 100% of your lineups. You're not going to want to fade him. Everyone had him last night. Played the first 3 minutes of the game and then got subbed out for Kelly Oubre and then, kind of got staggered every 4 or 5 minutes throughout the game. Played just 22 minutes, but he did start, and that was with Kyle Lowry. Now, without Kyle Lowry and Tyrese Maxey, we have a clear path for Cameron Payne to play 30-plus minutes as the true point guard on this Sixers team tonight. In terms of matchup, it's not good for, pace and, points being scored, but in terms of how easy it's going to be to score, it's a great matchup. The Grizzlies stink, and the Sixers are also really bad since they're so banged up with no Maxey, Embiid, Lowry. So for that reason, we only see a 6-point spread for the Sixers. Don't have to really worry about a blowout. The Sixers, along with the Utah Jazz, are the 2 best value teams tonight. It's really, really hard to get away from these 2 teams. Cameron Payne can play point guard and shooting guard. Just basically impossible to get away from tonight. He was going to be popular with Kyle Lowry playing. Lowry was a surprise for rest. We got the notification that he's sitting tonight with rest. Was never questionable. So it turns Cameron Payne from a good play to a unfadable, awesome play. So get Cameron Payne in your lineups. Shooting guard, I thought we were going to have to worry about the Keontae George news tonight with the illness because this game was at 9 p.m. Eastern. So the way NBA news goes, usually an hour before the game if we're lucky. We were able to get it, well before that, 7 hours before the game. So Keontae George must still feel like shit. He was questionable last game with an illness, started the game, played like 6 minutes, and he must have been throwing up or whatever was happening when he was out of the game because he got ruled out after those 6 minutes. So he still feels awful. I'm going to go to Colin Sexton right here at shooting guard. He's been an unbelievable fantasy point per minute kind of guy. The only issue with him this year is that his minutes have been they've been getting staggered. He hasn't been playing a ton of minutes as a starter. If you look at his game log, 26, 26, 29 minutes. When he gets up towards 8K, it's kind of tough to play a guy under 30 minutes around 8K, no matter how good their fantasy per minute is. But with no Keontae George and no, all these other guys, we got no Lauri Markkanen, no Walker Kessler, no Taylor Hendricks. So now the front court, they have no one. The back court, they have no one. We're probably going to see Chris Dunn start for Keontae George unless they, elect to go to Horton Tucker. But Chris Dunn played more last game. I think he's the favorite. So Sexton, though, to spend up, because we are going to have to spend up on some players tonight. There's too many cheap value plays. You can obviously go to Chris Dunn at 4,700. Sexton at 7,700, though. Looks unbelievable. Played 33 minutes last game, 48 fantasy points. Again, the only negative to him is that his minutes have not been great. He should have at least 32 to 35 minutes tonight. The Jazz are very banged up. We're going to probably see Jordan Clarkson come off the bench and play a ton of minutes. They just like having him come off the bench. So you can go to any of these Jazz guards. You could honestly go to all of them. The 3 Jazz guards tonight, I was on Horton Tucker last slate. He played like 15 minutes, and, he's just so hard to trust. In terms of other guys, though, for this backcourt, you could roster all of them in the same lineup. You could go to Dunn, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. The sky's the limit. It's not the best matchup against the Bulls, but it's still a 3.5-point spread. The Jazz are at home. It's a 223 over-under. I'm not overly worried about the Bulls. The Bulls have only one more win than the Utah Jazz do this season, which is kind of wild to look at. I would have thought the Bulls would have had at least 5+ more wins, but Jordan Clarkson went up a little bit, but still not enough, especially with Keontae George out. He played 36 minutes, went absolutely nuts, 3 assists away from a triple-double, 62 fantasy points. If you want to go with Clarkson and Sexton or Clarkson, Sexton, and Dunn, I'm not against it. The Jazz are a really hard team to get away from. Again, them and the 76ers, just so hard to get away from these teams tonight. They're so short-handed. The value is just through the roof. We'll put Sexton in this video for now, though. You could go with anyone, really. Small forward, we're going to go to Tobias Harris. He was a little bit of a disappointment last night, but we saw Kelly Oubre come off the bench and score early and often, so they didn't really rely too much on Tobias. Still played well, 37 minutes, 18, 9, and 4, 33 fantasy points. Fell a little bit short of his, value, but with this usage, with no Maxey, Tobias Harris needs to be on all your lineups again tonight. I'm going to fully be, firing up Tobias Harris. Power forward, small forward eligibility. His price didn't move, needs 37 fantasy points to hit value. He has 50 to 60 point ceiling tonight against the Grizzlies. With no Lowry now, we're probably going to see Kelly Oubre start. So, you could pick. There's 4 viable 76ers you could put in your lineup and 4 viable Jazz, if not 6 viable Jazz players. It's just a wild slate now. You could look at Buddy Hield. You could look at Kelly Oubre, but I like Tobias Harris. Again, we're going to have to spend up a little bit tonight at some point. I like Tobias at 7,400. Power forward, I'm going to go cheap here. It's kind of tough to tell, but with no Taylor Hendricks now and no Markkanen and Kessler, the Jazz, I mean, not only is their backcourt shorthanded, but their front court is even more shorthanded. They don't have anyone. They have Yurtseven, who I don't even think played last game, 7 minutes. So they don't like going to him. They're going to start Collins at the 5, and John Collins has been an absolute stud. So they're going to ride with him. And then for power forward, Micah Potter doesn't play. And then you got guys like Luka Samanic or Samanic. Sorry, I had to sound that one out. Can't say I've ever said his name or thought about his name until tonight. So Samanic, probably going to be a good value play. I'm going to put him in this video, 3,800. He started last game, played 23 minutes. He hit value. He needs 19 fantasy points to hit value. He did that last game. I mean, the icing on the cake here is that Taylor Hendricks is out now. So they have to start Samanic and probably Sensabaugh. I mean, I don't know who else they're going to play at the 3. They could maybe start Horton Tucker at the 3. But I'm going to tell you what, whoever starts at the 3, I'm not going to really love. I'm not going to love Sensabaugh because we know they're going to get staggered. I mean, we have Jordan Clarkson play starters minutes and he comes off the bench, so we can't overlook this starting lineup. Sensabaugh's more of a wing, so like he could get caught up into, you know, the Dunn, Sexton, Jordan Clarkson rotation, whereas Samanic is a big, so his minutes look a lot clearer to play because they really just have John Collins. It's him and John Collins. You got Yurtseven, again, who doesn't play. I like Samanic. He's projected to start. He started last game. He started alongside Taylor Hendricks last game. So the fact that Hendricks is out, I mean, I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the starting lineup. So at 3,800, he looks like the best sub 4K value piece tonight. By no means is he on the same level as Campaign at 4K. Campaign is, we know he's going to get his usage in his minutes. Samanic, we don't really know what he's capable of. I mean, I didn't even know how to say his name until about 30 seconds ago. So the 23 minutes in the start last game looks really good. And then obviously losing Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George just make it so much easier for him to see 25 plus minutes tonight. And then for center, we're going to stick with the Jazz. John Collins has gone up to 7,100. I don't care. He's been an absolute animal. He crushed the Wizards, 34 minutes. Like Collins Sexton, when the Jazz were fully healthy, Collins and Sexton were so productive when they're on the floor, but their problem was in a healthy lineup, they were only seeing, as you can see here, 27 to 30 minutes a game. It just wasn't consistent. Now, Collins is seeing over 30 minutes. He's seeing mid-30s in minutes, 35, 33, 34. He's easily been a fantasy point per minute guy. They're going to want him on Nikola Vucevic tonight. The Jazz have no one else. They're certainly not going to rely on Yurtseven like I was just talking about earlier. Even though his price has gone up to 7,100, I'm going to project him out for 36 to 46 fantasy points tonight. He just dropped 51. He's been rebounding like an absolute legend, scoring the ball in the high teens as of late. Really, really like John Collins at power forward and center. Like I said, with Keontae George, Kyle Lowry, Tyrese Maxey, Lauri Markkanen, with all these guys out, I mean, I just realized I have only 76ers and Jazz players in this video because it's like, it's kind of impossible to get away from these teams tonight. The matchups are fine. No blowout risk in either game, really. I mean, there's always blowout risk no matter what. It's the NBA. But in terms of, generalizing our chances, 6-point spread for Philly, 3.5-point spread for the Bulls. Not really worried about a blowout in either game. We're going to be able to have some fun tonight. I mean, these are the value guys. Like this video. Subscribe. We'll be able to spend up on basically whoever we want. Again, that after-hour slate will be on my Dub Club. Let's crush it. Looking forward to a fun PGA event this week as well. Until next time, I am the FD Guru. Peace.